Hi, my name is Tommy, and today I'll be discussing the skills of the entrepreneurship that apply to the great American animator and film producer, Walt Disney. In this video, I'll be covering the entrepreneurial attributes he delivered, the obstacles he faced, and his initial concept in what eventually became the brain of his company. Without further ado, let's begin. Walt Disney had to adapt in a time where his passion was very short-lived by others around him. Saying that, failure was a big testament in what later became the name he made himself to be. Growing up in the early 1900s, it was no exaggeration to say the world of animation was not a serious business. According to Dr. Alzane, there was a period where cartoons were viewed as a 7 to 10 minute matinee feature before motion picture movies were played in theaters. Alzane also mentions that Disney was turned down a reportedly 302 times before finally getting financing to land his dream of creating his own company. Disney's inspiration within was generated and taught by himself through so many obstacles that not only consisted through his career in a business standpoint, but his personal life as well. As many creative minds experience in their respected fields, Disney was also one to experience many lumps of creativity in his earlier work. It was said he was in fact fired for lacking creativity, costing him his job for his local newspaper in his younger years. McQuarrie discusses in an article about one of the detrimental failures Disney experienced when he made his first film being Newman Laughograms. After pitching his idea to a theatre to reel his film, he discovered that with issues of the cost that were asked from him, he forged out of his own pocket to have his film screened at the theatre and resulting in not making a single profit from it. Despite his non-profitable position, he continued creating and screening at least one laughogram a week while working his day job. Eventually it caused Walt to stop the company entirely as he was unable to uphold the task. Laughograms went bankrupt in 1923 while Walt was just 21 years of age. He then left for Southern California with only $40 in his pocket. As an exceptional leader, Walt displayed most wanted leadership skills from humbleness, boldness, people skills, communication skills, and especially vision. According to Powell, his colleagues and friends referred to him as a perfectionist, inspirational, and fearless. Powell further explains Walt would gather all his employees and co-workers in the studio, then act out the entirety of a movie sequence to them which lets his peers around him envision the story together, furthermore applying the artistic direction. Vision was a big aspect in Walt's success, as he once quoted, "I dream. If we don't dream or desire to have a vision for something better for ourselves or others, then what is it that gets us out of bed every morning?" This follows with Walt then saying, "I test my dreams against my beliefs." He proceeded with the method of leadership to create the path of creativity and open the minds to people around him. Another major asset that impacted Walt's growth was that he was a fantastic salesman. Along with the creative eye, he trademarked incredible people skills which allowed him to take a further step as an entrepreneur and succeed with his business and work. Some of the characteristics Walt possessed as a salesman were honesty, enthusiasm, confidence, courage, and persistence. As he was once referred to and judged upon lacking creativity, Walt became not only the pioneer of his era in animation, but left such a legacy in founding one of the largest companies in the world with Disney. As Avram states in our article, it began with him and his brother Roy who founded the company on October 16, 1923, originally named Disney Brothers Cartoon Studio. However, Roy suggested a change of names, instead going for the Walt Disney Studios. The company soon produced the Alice comedies for the next 4 years, eventually leading Walt to run a whole store for his Disney studio after the drastic success and growth of his business. Walt decided to make a change from live actions and animations to creating full animated work instead. A friend and work acquaintance of his, Oob Iwerks, was interested in the idea, causing both to create a character called Oswald the Lucky Rabbit. Disney went on to produce 26 episodes of the groundbreaking Oswald cartoons in just 1 year. The company has managed to achieve just as big of things in the current day of age of television and film. Hong says it's also been able to globalize its brand, as Disney has now built Disneyland parks in California, Florida, Tokyo, Shanghai, and Hong Kong. It has now also branched off to acquire different brands such as the both famous Pixar and Marvel. Hong also covers a SWOT analysis on Disney as a brand and company. As we can see for the strengths that Disney presents, we can see at the top of the list is brand recognition and image. Although the main demographic audience is 4 to 12-year-olds and young teenagers, Disney also brings attention from grown adults as many of them find amusement in romantic, musicals and fairy tales. The result in older viewer attention is also due to most adults watching Disney films as children and grew up with the joy of viewing them. With this recognition Disney receives from many audiences, a lot of course like visiting amusement parks, buying products, and most of all watching their movies. Most of this global recognition and success in a business aspect revolves around Disney's ability to make deep connections with their characters to audiences. According to Hung, a large and more vulnerable weakness that lies in front of Disney is that it's reported they are in more than $1 billion in debt, and this is due to the company's poor financial planning. The result of this is due to Disney investing a large amount of their finances in both training and more so on their merchandise and other products, which further issues their pricing strategies. A lot of customers and visiting tourists have complained a lot about the overpricing of products. As time goes by, Disney's opportunities increasingly grow as there is a humongous wave of inspiring talent in the creative industry looking for work, especially with more people starting to prefer leisure time, which results in more people wanting to spend more time entertaining, as the company has ventured off in exploring different industries over time, such as video games, toys, and even more films, which has gained a lot of interest from many people. The biggest threat in recent times was COVID-19, as it had a big impact on the shutdown for the amusement parks, which became even a bigger threat due to the costs, as Disneyland theme parks had lost an apparent $2.4 billion incomes. Another threat for Disney as a brand and a company is the many-faced competitors, as the more famous one being Universal Studios, as it also has many theme parks around the world. I admire Walt Disney for his impact and the inspiration he has left for not only creators like me but for everyone, as his story is truly one of a kind and one to really observe. I believe myself and everyone can use Walt's advice and strategies on achieving goals and building a name for ourselves, including how you want to be remembered in your respected field. Thank you for listening.